Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the opening session, the second day of the Committee of Energy will start soon. Please kind reminder to the participants joining us via e-platform Kudo. You will be able to turn on your microphone only after submission your request and when your request is accepted via the platform. We also welcome participants joining us via YouTube. The second day of the Committee on Energy will start now. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, since this is the first time that I'm speaking, I wish to thank you all delegations for having elected me as a vice chair. Thank you for an excellent cooperation throughout yesterday. I hope you also enjoyed the rest of the evening and had a good rest. Before we move on to today's deliberations of the remaining parts of the agenda items today, I would like to invite Ms. Damiliola Ogumbi, Special Representative of the United Nations, Secretary General for Sustainable Energy for All and co-chair of UN Energy, to brief the committee on the organization of the high-level dialogue on energy in 2021 under the auspices of the General Assembly. Good evening, Ms. Ogumbi. You have the floor, please.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me here today. I'm going to wait for them to share the screen, and I'm going to focus a little bit on sustainable energy for all, and then also talk about the high-level dialogue. So again, thank you for having me. I'm the CEO and the UN Special Representative on Sustainable Energy for All. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, one of the key things as we look at where we are today about energy and sustainable energy is that we found that the nature of the challenge is huge. And there are very few key things we have to do, especially this year. We must raise ambitions sustainably to achieve SDG 7 and all sustainable development goals, because SDG 7 is at the heartbeat of everything. We should make sure we make bold and big commitments, and we should also emphasize the global urgency. You know, it's really important to understand if we don't achieve SDG 7, which is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy for all by 2030, we will not achieve net zero by 2050. Next slide. And how exactly will we do this? Again, this shows the interconnection between SDG 7 and renewables, energy efficiency, clean cooking, and also electricity access. And unfortunately, we're far behind a lot of these goals for SDG 7. Next slide. So this shows in a more granular sense how far behind we are. Estimated about 789 million people that don't have access to electricity, of which 72% of that, which is 565 million, reside in Africa. Next slide. One of the key things that we've been championing is the need to recover better from this pandemic. So we do know with World Bank records that at least 150 million people have gone back to extreme poverty. And the truth of the matter is that we can recover in a sustainable way. The benefits of that obviously are healthier people, but it's actually beneficial for GDP as well. And we've been working on a Recover Better guide for South Asian countries. And I hope that everyone can download it because it's actually very, very interesting on the whole of government approach that is necessary to empower ministries of energy and ministries of finance to make key decisions on creating jobs and jumpstarting the economy post-COVID. Next slide. So now I'm going to go into the high-level dialogue. Next slide. The high-level dialogue is happening this September at the UN General Assembly. This is the first time in 40 years that the dialogue will hold. The last time it held was 1981, so it just shows how important it is. I have a role as a high-level dialogue champion, and I also have a co-chair, who is the UNDP administrator, and then we also have Mr. Liu, the Direct Dialogue Secretary General and the Undersecretary for DESA. We have a multi-stakeholder advisory group, and then we have different UN energy members made up of people from the whole of UN system that will come into this conversation. We're very excited and hope most of the people on this call at this Committee of Energy, the third session, would also join us at the event. Next slide. So what are we trying to do? We have all these objectives here, and I'm not going to go through every single one. The key ones are strengthening political commitments through SDG 7, and more importantly, looking for ways to catalyze finance, new technologies, and capacity building. And I'll show you in the next slides how we want to do that. Next slide. So the key outcomes for these events are two key things. Global statements or action plans that we are actually going to deliver at the event in September. But we also have this concept called energy compacts, which are voluntary agreements. So we're getting member states to sign and businesses on SDG 7 that targets the support to achieving the SDGs, all in line with the NDCs and also the Paris Agreement. Next slide. So the high-level dialogue on energy is broken up into 5 key themes. We have energy access, energy transition, enabling SDGs through an inclusive, just energy transition, innovation, technology and data, and finance and investment. And they have a number of tracks underneath them. And then we have the energy compact. Next slide. Sorry, next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So we have roles and responsibilities. We have the global theme champions, who are the UN member states, who are basically the key focal points in terms of the advocacy piece of increasing ambition within the themes. And I can tell you a bit more about which countries are doing what. We have a multi-stakeholder technical group that has co-leads. So, for example, international organizations like Energy Access, you have people like the World Bank and UNDP there, and then you have a set of about 30 experts underneath them, and they become the technical working group. Each group has a role, and then you have the advisory group, who is basically telling us how to, and guiding us on the preparation for the event itself. Next slide. I wanted to go a little bit more into the energy compact because I think it's key. As we said earlier, one of the key things to make this work is having bold, bigger, inclusive agreements. So these voluntary commitments, we would hope as many countries and companies and civil societies actually sign. And we make sure that we align these ambitious commitments to actions with policy, finance, investments, especially already highlighted in the NDCs and the Paris Agreement. So the commitment itself will focus on the 5 points I discussed earlier and the themes. And we have a draft template for any organizations that are, want to inquire about this, but we're really, really hoping to get as many countries as possible. And as a global champion, it's important that as a global champion, it's important that you sign up to a compact, but also get other people involved. Next slide. This slide just shows the differences between the energy compact, the NDCs, and just the SDG 7 broader compact. I'm not going to go through every single thing. It's just to kind of show the need for alignment with the existing processes and the level of work we are actually doing. Next slide, please. Another key part of the dialogue is the relationship with COP26. I actually co-chair the COP26 Energy Transition campaign with the COP President, Alok Sharma. And one of the things that we made sure is that we use both events as a relationship builder, but make sure that we're saying the same things as we go into it. And looking at the energy compacts point, not only helping what we're doing on the high level dialogue, but also contributing to COP. Next slide, please, sorry. And then the next slide after this. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is what we're trying to achieve. We have for September for the high-level dialogue, where we're trying to come up with the energy compacts and the global statements. But it's not just about September, it's about what happens till 2030 and then following on to 2050. So 2025 is a key milestone to see where we are to achieve in line to achieve SDG 7 and also net zero. So we're also putting together kind of an interim target for ourselves. There's a lot more to this. There are a lot of meetings going on between the technical working group, companies and countries in terms of the energy compacts and just the general planning of which UNDESA is chairing as we move along. So this is really just give you a snapshot. I look forward to seeing all of you at the event and also looking forward to answering any of your questions you might have on the high-level dialogue. Please feel free to contact myself and my team. I'm just going to pass it back to the chair. Thank you very much for listening.
Mr. Gumbi, thank you very much. I now invite comments and questions from delegates and representatives attending the committee. To maintain order and for delegations to be ready to take the floor, when I call on the speaker, I will also announce the delegations next in line. The floor is open.
Mr. Chair, with your permission, I just want to thank Damilola, the special representative for SG, for this presentation. Since this is a very late evening, thank you so much. And I know there are questions and some kind of like discussions will follow, but I just want to also add up by what the SRSG just mentioned, how to prepare this by the member countries in Asian Pacific. And I saw there were a few countries named already there in the list of the country champions for different themes. Like for energy transition, I see India from this region as one of the 8 country champions. And also for energy access, I also see China, Japan, and Russian Federation are there. So I really think through this kind of contribution, I really think to reflect the regional aspects to achieve SDG 7 and the Paris Agreement at the global level, especially to contribute to these outcomes from this high-level dialogue. And from ESCAP side, we are the core lead to support member countries and also the technical working group on energy transition together with the IRENA and UNEP. And I also want to let colleagues in the member countries, if you have anything you want to follow up or contribute to this process for the high-level dialogue, and you can also go directly to your different theme. And also you can just ask us to help to reach out the different themes and also different technical working groups and also the secretariat in DESA. So we are in a position to support all of these kind of requests and to work with the member countries and to prepare for this high-level dialogue. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'll stop here.
I thank you, Mr. Hongpen Liu. Now let me ask Ms. Damilola Gumbi to conclude and provide final thoughts before closing. Ms. Gumbi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cher, and thank you for your nice words. I mean, one of the key things that we want to make sure is that this is a fully inclusive program. So we do have some countries for the region, but the more we have coming into the region, signing up to these energy compacts, just makes a stronger argument for why the region is so important in terms of energy. So we look forward to engaging with more of your countries. We look forward to, like Secretary said, the likes of India and China and Japan and Russia signing up to energy compacts, and for us to have big, bold ambition. And then in my role in SC for All as well, looking forward to a much closer collaboration with ESCAP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gumbi, for insightful information. I wish a successful organization of the high-level policy dialogue on energy in New York during the General Assembly session this year. This concludes the deliberation under the special session on UN High-Level Dialogue on Energy 2021, and thank you for your cooperation. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, before we take up agenda item 3C, Regional Roadmap on Power System Connectivity, entitled Promoting Cross-Border Electricity Connectivity for Sustainable Development, I understand that during deliberation of agenda item 3A yesterday, there was some